Hi, welcome back to the West Bounce podcast. Today I have Courtney Hancock on. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Yeah, I am. God, where do I start? I'm a wife and mom of four kids. Ages my oldest is almost 17. My next is my son who's 14, an 11-year old, and then a 5-year old. So it's very busy. I'm also a part-time registered nurse. I'm a yogi, a flute player, vocalist. So I like to do a lot. And I just recently finished writing a book, and it's out on Amazon now. And yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey doing this and doing everything, trying to keep up with everything. But that's a little bit about me, and yeah,
Yeah, I want to start with a fun question of what is a fun fact about you that not most people know?
I would say that I'm a thrill seeker. Um, I had the opportunity almost 2 years ago to go skydiving for the first time. For it was an anniversary gift, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And I wasn't even scared to do it, even when they you go in and you watch the video and you have to sign a waiver saying we're not it's not our fault if you die type of thing. I wasn't scared at all, even when I was on the plane, and you don't exactly jump out, you just kind of sit on the edge and just kind of fall out. It wasn't even scary then, and I just loved it. I mean, I love roller coasters, rides. I love driving fast, and yeah, it's something that people probably wouldn't suspect about me.
Yeah, the adrenaline rush. That's so fun. I want to go skydiving so bad, but I think you have to be 18. And so
Yeah,
wait
so
a
a
minute. We're so close. We're so close.
few more years.
Yeah, and then we'll get to skydiving. It just looks fun. Looks like something that would be cool and kind of scary, but a good thrill.
It seems scary, but one of the cool things about it is that you don't get any pitfalls when you drop out of the plane because the speed of the plane matches the speed that you're going to be falling. So you don't get that feeling like, oh, when you're on a roller coaster, you lose your
Yeah.
stomach. It's just like you're falling out into the wind, and then you start free falling, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to start with our first question. I just want to talk about your book today. And so I really want to start with, did you change as a person from when you started writing your book to where you are now? Have you changed as a person?
I think I didn't realize how much that I really would change,
Yeah.
because I after I was writing through it, and I realized I'm writing this more for me first than anyone else. And we've heard a lot from other entrepreneurs that usually you're the first person that gets changed in the process. As you do something big like writing a book or getting on stages and selling a course or something, is that you're the one who gets changed. And it was amazing to see, like, yeah, I really needed this for me. There's so much, like, I need to go back and remember what I wrote. I got to take my own advice, right? My stuff. So it's been helpful just to remember, like, okay, if I'm talking to myself from my book, if I'm writing to me, what do I need to know today?
Yeah.
I guess I was changed in the process.
That's so cool because I remember writing my book. I think you write it for yourself, basically. Everything we do really for ourselves, in mind. And even when we don't think about it, because when I wrote it, I was like, I'm writing this for other people, and now I still go back and read through it. So I totally get what you mean. You do it for yourself in a way, and you're the person that's affected, but then you get to affect other people with that change. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you about that. And then I was going to talk about if you could go back to the beginning of writing your book, what would you do differently, and what would you change?
Well, in the beginning, it was hard initially because I had ideas of what I wanted to write about, a list of topics, and I guess I wasn't sure how the flow needed to go initially. I think I would have taken it a little bit more seriously because I dabbled just more in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote a few chapters, but then I kind of stopped. It was almost over a year ago that I started writing the book. And I just kind of let it fall over the summer. And then I think I would have taken it more seriously. And it wasn't until it was Funnel Hacking Live 9.5 of September 2024 that I attended that virtually, and I got the bug in my ear, like, I really got to finish writing this book.
Yeah.
And that's when I took it more seriously. I think I would have just realized that it was something I needed to do and just not like put on the side and just let it sit there, right?
Yeah.
Like get it done.
That's so cool because that was where I started writing my book also. Because like I kind of thought about it and started writing before, but when I was there, because I went to it in person, and I remember talking to Eileen Wilder, and she was like, "Write the book, Rose. Just write the book." And I was like, "Okay." So that's so cool that we both had it like the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
neat.
awesome.
When did you actually
Like,
publish your book?
sorry, say that again.
When did your book actually come out?
The release date on Amazon was
Yeah.
What was it, July 15th or 14th, somewhere around there. Yeah, so it's been out for a little bit. I've just been kind of keeping it a little bit more quiet because I want to sell it more from like a book funnel than just on Amazon. But
Yeah.
it's been slow getting that going. But at least it's out on Amazon. If people wanted to buy it, they can go buy it. But
Yeah, no, mine's on Amazon. It was cool to publish through Amazon and just have that little. It gets it somewhere. You're getting somewhere. So
it,
it's really
it
cool.
gets it out in the world at least.
Right. Somebody will find it that needs it.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about like how was the book writing process? Like, can you just like walk us through like writing the process, like writing the book and the process of that?
So I think you and I have both heard that the hard part about writing a book is sitting down to write it. I think you probably encountered similar challenges too.
Oh yeah.
Um, you're in school. I've
Mm-hmm.
got 4 kids. There's a lot of other commitments and distractions that can take and pull our attention elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing was just carving out the time to do it because I still work part time as a nurse, so I still have to do that. I have a family to take care of, a house to take care of, others interests like maybe I want to do. There's a lot that's on my plate, and so I think it was just getting down and sitting down to write it. And so my husband gave me a good idea at the after funnel hacking 9.5 last year. He's like, you've got a block of time on these couple of days where you don't have any kids. And so why don't you just use that time instead of your normal, whatever routine that I had done before, use that to write instead. And so that's what I would do. I changed up my daily routine so that when I had some undisturbed time, no kids, I had 2+ hours to just write and do that only. Because my youngest was in preschool at the time, 2 days a week. So it's like, that was my time. That was my time that I
Yeah.
could write. So,
Yeah.
and then another challenge is just when you encounter writer's block where you're not sure, like, where does it go from here? Like, what do I need to do from here? So I think what I would do was maybe just, if I got stuck, I would kind of leave it. And then when an idea came to me, then I would go back and write it. I had several times where an idea came to me like, oh, I got to go add that to that chapter. Oh, I got to go add it to that chapter. And so it was kind of fun, kind of sporadic. I think my family was kind of like, they were very patient with me as I was doing this and getting it written when it was just kind of all over the place sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like sitting down is so hard, and sometimes there's that push from God where it's just like, bro, like I hear it a lot more. It's just sit down, just sit down.
Yep.
You don't need to
Yep.
keep scrolling. You don't need to watch a movie. You don't need to do anything. Just sit down and do what I've called you to do. I'm like,
Exactly.
oh, okay, I got you. So that's so cool. I'm so proud of you for like doing this and like actually writing the book because a lot of people would wait and they would never accomplish it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about like what was the hardest part about writing the book? Was that the hardest part, or was there like challenges other than that?
Hmm. I think that there were times where I felt imposter syndrome.
Mm.
Um, and I talk about this a little bit in my book, and I think in chapter 9. The title's called Give Yourself Grace. I was like, I feel like so weak sometimes. Like, why would God call me to do something that I feel is so huge and so big? And I just feel like that was a big thing because I feel so small sometimes and I struggle with self-worth, but then I feel like I got to do something so big. But I did it anyway. And I reached out to our dear friend, Russell Brunson, about this before I started writing the book. Like, this feels so big. Why would God call me to do me of all people to do something so big, and he reassured me with some counsel that I talk about in my book, and was very helpful. And I still remember it from time to time when I feel that imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we don't feel called and we don't feel qualified, and it's like we can't do this, we can't do this. And I think that there's a something that Russell says where it's like God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called, or something like that. And that's cool because I love that you reached out to Russell because Russell helps a lot and he would like move you with that. But yeah, sometimes we don't feel like we belong and we don't feel like we can do it. I remember writing my book and I was like, I'm 14. I'm a kid. Like, I'm like, what am I doing? I can't do this. And there was just like that fear and there was that doubt. And I was like, God, why me? And a
Yeah,
lot of times we ask God, why me? Like, there's so many other people that could do it. So many older people, so many people with much more experience in this. What if I don't know what I'm talking about? And I remember like God speaking through me. It was like, I don't need you to know what you're talking about. I need you to know that I know what I'm talking about.
exactly. He's like,
Okay.
stop doubting what I've called you to do, and I'll provide the way. And Russell actually quotes a scripture that we have in our church. He said, God qualifies whom he chooses. And it's very comforting to know that he's got us in this that feels so heavy. Like you think of all the Old and New Testament prophets who like felt unqualified, and his disciples who felt unqualified who were fishermen. Like
Yeah.
how I'm just a simple fisherman. I'm not like a chief magistrate or a Pharisee or a scribe, that kind of stuff. It's like he calls the people who feel unqualified because they are humble at heart and they're going to listen to God, not themselves or the world.
Yeah. While you were writing your book, do you ever have to like humble yourself and remember, like, okay, I am just a child of God. Like, I'm just, like, any points?
I think I was driven more by the fact that I just felt called to do this and that I had to do it. I always believed that even from my youth, that I was a child of God. Something I was taught very religiously in my church, and as a belief that is constantly taught and kids sing about in their primary, um, that we are children of God. So I never doubted that for a second. It was more of a, can I do this?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and then once it's done, it's like, what next? And another thing I talk about in my book is to not get overwhelmed by the big picture too much. Just do the take the next step, the next right thing, whatever feels is like the very next thing, because a lot of times you can't see the full path in front of you. You can see maybe one or two steps and that's it. And that's frustrating that that's how
Yeah.
the journey in life is designed to be, right? You don't always get to see the full path. Sometimes you know the destination, but you don't know the way to get there. And I think that was a frustrating part. It's like, well, all I know is I got to do this. I'm not sure about the next thing. But like, I just have to trust that God knows what he's doing and he'll show me or reveal it to me somehow. And I just have to be patient and wait for it.
Yeah, my favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11. Because like when I'm like really doubting or anything like that, I'm like, okay, you know the plans you have for me, and they're good plans, and they're good.
Exactly.
Well, okay, I got this, and that always like moves me forward. Like if I'm doubting something, I'm, okay, wait, the plans you have are good, and you know them, so I don't need to know them. And I talk about this where I'm glad we don't see the full picture. Because like sometimes if we saw the full picture, I think we'd run. We'd be like, God, I don't want it. That's not. No, I'm good. I'm going the other way. But he always works it out for better, and that is such a cool thing for him. Like to do that to us, and just I don't know. It's super super cool.
Exactly. I think the full picture might be too overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
because we have certain expectations of how we wish things would be instead of how God wants them to be for us. And so I think this struggle is being able to surrender and align with him and his plan is.
Yeah, there was a Bible verse that's I think it's Jesus talking to his disciples, and he's like, "You don't understand now, but you will."
Exactly.
I can't tell you these things right now because you're not going to understand. You're not ready, but you will understand it. And I
Yeah.
think that God humbles us sometimes, and He's like, "You have to just wait, just be patient, because you're not going to understand this right now. It's not going to make sense, and I can't tell you it because you're
And
not
it's
ready."
hard. We're generally selfish and impatient creatures.
We're like, "Come on, come on, come on." Yeah,
it's it's hard because we want what we want. We want it now, and we live in a world where we get instant gratification. You can buy something on Amazon and get it within a couple of days. You can go to the grocery store and get it right there. And when it comes to bigger things, it's like you got to just let go and just sometimes let it come to you and just stop worrying. And that's really hard.
Yeah, and that's so, so hard. Okay, we're going to. Oh yeah, I remember like I was reading your book and they're talking about like rough trials and going through trials. I love the story you told about like the boat and like talking the boat and all that stuff, like bring the boat to the trailer, yeah. And so in your book when you're talking about going through rough trials, was writing the book a trial in itself?
There were times where it felt like a trial, but not in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this life is time to prepare to meet God and is a refining process. I think it just felt hard in that it was part of my growth process and that something I needed to learn and then a message I needed to get out in the world somehow. Um, but again, going back to like being the hardest part about writing the book was the time and chronic health issues and kids and just life in general, just feeling very stretched a lot all the time, but knowing that stretching is for a purpose. And so it didn't feel like a trial in a bad way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I felt the drive to do this. And that's what kept me going. Like, I've got to do this. Like, if I don't do it, then someone else is going to do it. And I think he needs me to do it. Probably like what you said. It's like, why is he killing me? It's like, well, if not you, then someone else. But maybe you needed it more than someone else does. So that's kind of how I felt about that.
Yeah, like he'll find somebody else, but he's choosing you. And I think Russell and I went through a Bible verse. I was like, "Many are called, but few are chosen." And it's like he chose you, so you need to listen to what he told you to do and go and just do it. And that's so special. It's so special that like he chooses us and we each have like our own little paths. And if we just listen, it'll blow up way more than we expect. It'll be so good and so good.
Well, and oftentimes we don't realize that the blessing is even greater than we imagine if we just follow him.
Mm-hmm.
That he's a God of abundance and wants to bless us 10 to 100 fold. And we just can't even picture it because we have such a narrow minded or, myopic perspective of things. And it's like, he's going to bless us more than we realize if we follow him and follow his plan and do what he's called us to do.
Yeah, and sometimes in that trial, we learn so much more than we expect. And we have so many blessings in that trial. And I think sometimes God takes us through the trials so that we can see that he is not just the God of the mountains, but he is the God of the valleys. And so we know, okay, I can trust him in those valleys because he was there through every single step of the way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to talk about like what was your main goal when you started? Like when you started writing the book, what was your main goal? What did you see the publishing the book? What was going to happen after that? Like what was your goal for that?
Well, I think I have ideas of what I'd like it to happen with this book. Mm-hmm. The entrepreneur community that we're part of with ClickFunnels and other people say that the money's in the courses, but I picture myself on stages presenting to people and connecting one-on-one and with people in person. I feel like I have the capacity to be a good speaker if my voice ever cooperates someday. But I feel like part of my trials were I had my thyroid removed from thyroid cancer. And I think that's where the fluctuations in the voice have come, is because I don't have a thyroid anymore. It's all synthetic hormone now that I'm on. So sometimes it'll be low like it is right now. Sometimes it'll be high. It varies. So, but with the book, I think I just want to be able to share my message with people and help people who need it most. That much I know I was supposed to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. And sometimes like you don't know, you just do it.
And I don't really know exactly. Sometimes you have to try things first, and then maybe it doesn't work, and it's like, okay, because sometimes we can't be guided in every single thing we do. God's not there to micromanage everything we do, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to take a step in the dark to know that that wasn't the right way to go, and then he redirects us back to the path that we need to be on, because we've got powerful minds and brains. he expects us to think and act for ourselves and
Mhm.
gives us the right to choose. So I think sometimes he's like, you have a choice. If it doesn't work, then, try something else. So
Yeah. Okay, I was just writing something like a note. But what is your favorite chapter in your book, and like, what is your favorite part of your book? Because I have like favorite parts in my book, and it's like, do you have like favorite parts of your book?
I loved writing the books or the chapters about imagination and passion and music and joy, because I'm a very musical person. I sing soprano even though it doesn't sound like it right now. I play the flute. I just auditioned for a local performing group that I'm trying to get in because I love playing so much. Music is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I also loved writing about like meditation and mindfulness because I'm also a yoga instructor, and that relates really well to me about how to practice mindfulness and meditation and to be still when it gets rough and it's challenging. You just got to let go for a few minutes. And it was just fun writing things that I'm passionate about and that relate to me and that I want to share with people. Like, this is going to help you. This is what you got to do in this hard time or this difficult time. I promise it helps.
Yeah. So I
Like,
kind of want to like go. Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
it's all right. What was your favorite part about your book?
Oh yeah. So I have a lot in there, but my favorite was writing about like hope. Because when I wrote my message, I was just writing and writing and writing because I wanted people to find hope and I wanted people to be okay. And because I think we have such big trials, and I my like main audience is teen girls, and I was like, okay, so I can see these girls struggling, and I don't want them to struggle alone, and I don't want this to be a problem for them by themselves, because I know how that feels. I know how it feels to be sitting there by yourself and being like, I am alone, and I was like, I'm not going to let them feel that way. They're
Yep.
not alone, and that's they. I might not have any idea who they are, but there's something that's going to help them. And I remember writing it and I was questioning God so much. I was like, are you sure? Because I don't think I'm supposed to write this. I'm a kid. I don't need to be doing this. Like, God, please don't make me do this. And I just remembered hearing over and over again what Eileen Wilder had said, and it was like, somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And it would happen every time in my brain. I was like, God, I don't think this is it. And it was like, somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And I was like, okay. And I keep writing. And the cool part is that I had someone reach out to me the other day, and I had a couple people. One was like an older guy, and he was like, "I've never understood like faith. And everyone thought it's like a religion and not a relationship." He was
Hmm.
like, "When I dove through your book, I actually understood having a relationship with God instead of just having a religion."
Oh,
And I
that's
was,
so cool.
yeah.
I
And then I had another girl. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
It's fine. I think we're both just on the same wavelength here, and it's fun. I love that. I had a friend who reached out to me. One of my endorsements. He left me a couple of voice messages, and it was only from reading chapter one. He said, This has helped me so much. It's like I was never able to articulate something until now, and so I was like, oh. It made me feel like, yes, this is why I needed to write it. Someone out there needs it, and then lots of people need it, just like you. I mean, my daughter's got your book and she loves your book, and so it's helps more people than we realize. And I think it's like a ripple effect, you
Mhm.
touch one person and then it maybe spreads to two or three, and then to five or six or more, and then it just creates this awesome cascade effect of people being touched just by the simple thing that you think they're doing, but it's
Yeah.
actually really huge.
Yeah, I think we don't think how big of an effect we have, like positive or negative. So we have to be careful what we do because we have such an effect on other people. And so I think when you're called to do something, just do it. And I like it's so cool when you actually do it and you watch people change. Because like I love speaking. Speaking is super fun to me. And so I was speaking at this like event thing, and I spoke, and I remember getting off and I like walking away from stage, and I was kind of like, that was terrifying. I don't know how I did. Like I was really overthinking it. And I was like, I did not do it good. I didn't do it right, all these things. And someone called me like the next day, and or someone messaged me that night and was like, I really needed what you had to say. Thank you for speaking. And then the next night, someone else called me and was like, hey, I just want to let you know that this girl walked up to me after like your speech, and she was like, I'm not giving my whole life to God. I'm ready to give it to God. And I was
Oh,
like, okay. Sometimes we overthink and we let like our minds think, oh, we did so bad, we shouldn't have done that. and really change somebody's like perspective, somebody's life, and you have no idea sometimes.
And I think that overthinking is just, it's just that fear of not being enough. You know, you feel so called to do something huge, but then when we let go and align with God, He takes over and He uses us, and we are His instruments to touch people. And that's why people come up afterward and say, "Thank you. I
Mm-hmm.
really needed this. You know, now I'm ready to align with God." So that's incredible.
Yeah, and that's so special. It's so special that we get to be used by God. I'm very, very grateful to be able to be used by God and have such a good God.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, and then I was like, what is your ideal audience? I was just wondering, what is your ideal audience? Who do you like sell your book to? I was like,
I've thought about that a lot here. We're told that it's us 5 years ago. So if I was going to do me 5 years ago, it would be like moms in similar positions. You know, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. I had cancer and a thyroidectomy and tons of pesky symptoms that came with it. Um, so I would be speaking to women like me mostly. But truth be told, the message is not just for women; it's for anyone. But if I was to speak specifically, it would probably relate better to women who are in my similar position or were who are going through maybe some health challenges or other difficult challenges and can't see the way through and feel like they're, like you were talking about, like hope, like they don't have hope
mhm.
and just don't know how to keep going or how to even feel like they're worth anything. So
Yeah, that's hard.
it is, it's easy to feel like God has forgotten you when you're on an endless, what seems like an endless quest for answers or something, anything. And we forget that that's part of the refining process, and that the waiting and the silence doesn't mean that God has abandoned us, and that it's part of us learning how to humble ourselves and to continue seeking and continue to build that faith and to keep going no matter how hard it gets.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a like good message to share because I think a lot of us, we all are human, and I think it's cool that we can all relate to that feeling of feeling alone and feeling helpless and feeling we have no hope. And I think that's special because God gives us that, so then we run back to Him. And I was writing a speech the other day because I have a speech I have to present in like September, the end of September, and I was like finding hope, and I was like, you're gonna feel like it's just everything's just crumbling and there's just no hope, and then you just run back to God again and again and again, because at least if you're gonna fall apart, you're gonna fall apart in His hands, and He'll put you back together. Just keep going back to Him, keep going back, and that's one of my favorite songs is Arms of Jesus, and it's like run into the arms of Jesus, like fall into grace, and that's so special because we have such a good God that He just lets us come back. It's like, okay, I know you messed up again, but I'm still gonna forgive you. Come back and then come back.
Yeah, it's just amazing. As many times as we slip up, there's no place that we can sink too far where the Savior can't reach.
Right.
He or he hasn't been.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Okay, and then there was something. Okay, so you talked about yoga, and this is super random, but like, how has yoga changed like your life, and how has that like affected you?
Well, from a physical standpoint first, I feel like yoga has done more for my physical strength and health more than anything because of, if you've ever done yoga, you might understand. If not, it might be more difficult to understand. But the poses that are called the asanas challenge the flexibility and strength and range of motion. And when you're holding a pose for an extended length of time, it's really practicing the balance and stability. And that's another thing I'm passionate about is as we get older, we need, we have to be able to have balance and flexibility and range of motion, because as we get older, those three things go. Like you can see people hunched over like in the grocery store, or they say, oh, I got bad knees or bad elbows and all that stuff. And that's like, from a physical standpoint, I mean, yoga is one of the things I think that's going to help, that can help people the most to maintain that flexibility and range of motion and that balance. Because like you don't want to fall and break your hip or break a bone or something. You know, if you have that stability and balance, you're less likely to fall. And so from a physical standpoint, that's been the best thing for me because I've got really good reflexes and range of motion and flexibility, and my balance is amazing now because I've been practicing yoga for at least for 3 or 4 years, and it's awesome. Like consistently, I didn't really get into it until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So that's when I really fell in love with it. But the other aspects that I love about is like the breath and the mindfulness and meditation part of it, where you surrender to a higher power or divinity or to God, and you become one with stillness and practice that quiet, that stillness. And it's in that stillness, where divinity or God reveals himself or itself, whatever relates well to you. And I'm just been so passionate about it. And like, if I can, I get the chance to teach it as often as I can, and to do it as often as I can as scheduling allows and at home. And it's just been such a good help for me. And it's fun to do some difficult balance postures too and watch myself fall. Like
Yeah.
trying to do like a handstand is really tricky, and a forearm stand or other arm balancing. It's like, it's fun to fall, you're supposed to fall. Just keep to get up and keep doing it over and over. And there's just a lot of practical life lessons all through yoga. By practicing it and doing it, it's just fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've wanted to try yoga for a while because it just seems really, really neat and really special, like in its own little
Well,
way.
I encourage you to try it. It's
Yeah.
different, I think, than anything you've ever tried.
Yeah.
But once you do it, it's like, oh man, I feel so good after this. I remember teaching a few classes, community, and in my church, where people come up to me and say, "Oh, I feel so good after." I mean, like there was a lady who was in her last trimester, so she adapted in the yoga class I taught. So she adapted it to her. But she came up to me after, says, "Oh, I don't have any lower back pain anymore. I feel so good." So it can really help you if you practice it consistently.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so I had like two more main questions. And one was like, how did you find God? Because you said you had cancer. And how did you find God during that time? Because I can imagine that was a super, super hard time for you. I was like, how did you find God during that?
So thankfully, the type of cancer that I had has a very low mortality rate. Thyroid cancer is very treatable, and it was caught before it spread to the rest of my body. It remained in the thyroid as a nodule, um, but it after they removed it, my endocrinologist did an ultrasound and saw something that looked not right. And I had surgery again to remove some more lymph nodes, and the cancer had spread again. But it was very, very small. So I was very grateful that they caught it, because once it enters like the lymphatic system, which is where your lymph nodes are, I mean, cancer can spread really fast. And so I was grateful to have caught it before it spread further than that. But I wasn't super anxious because, one, I'm a registered nurse, and I know not to get too upset or anxious without all the information or tests, or it's what you could think a million different outcomes, like what if this happens, what if this happens. But I've learned that you just have to wait for test results, and thinking the what if just wasn't helpful. I remember going into surgery to get my thyroid taken out, and I felt totally calm. I wasn't worried about the outcome. Like I just got to get it done. This is what my ENT is recommending. And so where I felt God, I think, in that was just the peace that it was just going to be okay no matter what. And I think that's the peace that surpasses all understanding. It's like how can you be peaceful in this type of situation type of thing? It's like, well, that's the kind of peace that God offers. And it was kind of funny. I was, as a registered nurse, I mean, I'm familiar with medical procedures and the OR, and because I was in same day surgery for a little bit. And so the nurse comes in, and she's going to start her IV in my right hand. Um, and I watched her, and she goes in at the wrong angle, and she's like fishing through it. And I wasn't even phased by it. I'm watching her like, you're not going to get that. So I was kind of said, why don't you lower your needles down so you're going more shallow? She got it instantly. So it's like, even in a time like that where I could have been anxious, I mean, it's like, there is not many things that shatter a nurse's confidence than missing an IV. So it's like, I wanted to help her, like, just so that she doesn't feel shattered. Maybe she was new, I don't know, but it's like, even at a time when I could have felt anxious, I still found a way to help someone else.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah. I love that you just had that peace that like only God can give. I think sometimes we search for it in the world and it's like only God can give that kind of peace. And so I'm so glad that you felt that peace in that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, I have like one more main question, and it's just what is next? Like, what is next for you? What do we have to expect from you next and be excited for? And what are your plans?
Man, I do have another idea for a book. But I have, excuse me, I have no idea when that's going to come to light. Because like I said, it makes sense to try to turn my book into like a coaching program and to get on stages and speaking opportunities. But I do have another podcast I'm going to be getting on in the near future as another guest to promote my book and talk about it. So I would like to get on more podcasts as well. I also do my own podcast at home that I might try to get some guests on once I get the time and once kids are in school and I don't have to worry about entertaining kids or driving them anywhere. I would like to get people who have gone through some hard times in their lives and talk to them about like what got them through those challenges, and how they found God or how they found peace or how they found joy through it, because it seems kind of contradictory. Like how are we supposed to find joy and happiness in like the darkest time of our lives? I mean, shouldn't we be justified in feeling crappy and cranky and angry at God because life is so hard and life sucks right now, type of thing? But there is a way to find joy in the challenges. You just got to know how to do it, and that's what I talk about in my book.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I cannot wait to promote your book and have people buy it because I was loving it. I read like the first few chapters, and it's really busy right now, school starting, all that stuff. But I was loving it. I was like, I cannot wait to finish this. So I'll be sure to like share it, and everybody just go buy her book. It's amazing. It'll help you for sure. For sure.
Oh, thank you so much, Rose. You're awesome.
Yes. Awesome. Do you have anything else you'd like to share before we hop off?
There was one experience that I thought was cool while I was writing the book, where I felt several times like, and I'm sure you felt the same way, like about being an instrument in God's hands. I feel like many times that I wasn't writing the book, that the words were not from me. There was, towards the end of the book, I came up with this concept that you'll read about at the end. And I sit back and I'm like, okay, I've got something here. I need a name for it. I sat there waiting. And then within seconds, it came to me. Like, yes, that's how revelation works. That's amazing. It's like, that's how you know that you're called. When you get that instant revelation or whatever it is you need. It's like, yes, this is how I know I'm on the right path. And I thought it was just so cool.
Yeah, sometimes I remember I do that in podcasts too. Sometimes I'll say stuff and I'll like re-listen to the podcast and I'm like, there's no way I said that. I'm like, I sound so smart, but it's not me, it's God. And so I think it's cool when God uses you and he speaks through you. And so that's so special that you have that.
And I'm so happy you wrote your book. I mean, because like if not us, then someone else will. So it's like it's up to us to get our message out, to help and spread the word, spread messages of hope and love and joy and peace, and bring people to God, bring people to Christ. And, you know, it's part of why we're here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for getting on and thank you for all the listeners. And I hope everybody has a good day.
Thanks. Bye.